Hello and welcome to another episode of Feeding Fatty. I'm Roy.
And I'm Carrie.
So today, as we talked about, we're taking you down our health journey and trying to get healthier, but sometimes that means actually slowing down to get healthier. Sometimes us being too far out in front of ourselves, doing too much, overscheduling, it can be take a toll on our health. So we are lucky enough today to have an awesome guest, Heneka Watkis-Porter. She is a coach, speaker, author, host of the Entrepreneurial Podcast and Leadercast events in Jamaica. She is also a 5 times author. She is the founder and CEO of, excuse if I mispronounce it, but Patwa Apparel. And anyway, just extend it and say welcome to the show. Thanks for taking time out of your day to be here.
Thank you, Roy, and thank you, Terry. It's my pleasure to be here. I'm really looking forward to chatting.
Good. Yeah, so, that's one thing we talk about all the time is I'll speak for me, not Terry. Terry keeps me in check, but I tend to get overscheduled and, try to push myself. And so the slowing down was, it's what caught my eye when we initially talked and when I read your material, and why I thought it's important to have you on, because it's important. So if you don't mind, if you could just kind of take us through your journey, you don't have to say any more than what you feel comfortable with, but talk about, your health crisis, how that kind of made you reflect and feel the need to slow down.
Well, thank you so much, Roy. So here's the thing. I have been one that is passionate and driven. I mean, from you, the stuff in the bio perhaps give that away, right? I'm always going up, just going like an Energizer Bunny. And, fueled by the hustle and the grind culture and mentality that we've been fed, and just going without listening to my body that I need to pause, because your body does give you clues. But sometimes we think, not today, I'll do it tomorrow, I'll rest tomorrow, and you move right ahead and you just pick up where you left off. Well, I kid you not that on April 1 of this year, 2020, I was in the middle of a live YouTube interview, meaning as we're talking now, but it was live, it was just as it is, no editing. And in the middle of doing that interview, I was passing out.
Oh, wow.
Like I literally started passing out in the middle of it. And so that same night, with all the symptoms that started coming on, I had to be rushed, urgently to the hospital. Now, to say that, if I could say that was it and, everything was fine from thereafter, then that would be a lie and it would be good for me. I would have been happy. But what went down after that, like my life, my health went on a downward trajectory from there. So a myriad of symptoms that were brought on: acid reflux, high heart rate, pulse rate, high white blood cell counts, just a myriad of stuff, like constantly passing out, just one thing after the other. At the end of the day, I ended up going to 10 doctors.
Wow.
And none of them was able to put a finger on it. One came pretty close in putting a finger on what the challenge was, which by that time I had already diagnosed myself. So when I went to my 11th doctor, which is a naturopath, that's when my life, my health really began to turn around, I was diagnosed with adrenal fatigue. And it was really a chronic state. So even at this point, to be honest, Roy and Terry, I'm still recovering, because healing is a long-term process. It's a long journey. It's not like it's happening overnight. But, just a myriad of things, insomnia, which is chronic. And what made matters really worse was that for a long time, I accepted that I suffered insomnia. Like, I wouldn't sleep. I couldn't sleep. It would take me long to get to sleep, and I wouldn't sleep, and I just pass it off. Yeah, it's normal. It's insomnia. I've had it and I've accepted it. So when the point came when I got really ill, I started, because I realized in order for me to recover, I'm going to need to rest, and that I wasn't getting. By this point, I was not sleeping at all. And so I decided to start taking, which I've taken before, but no more than ever, I was taking pills to sleep. Huh. Like, can I tell you?
I do.
Girl, guy.
For years.
It was the worst decision I could have ever made. Because until recently, I didn't recognize. I mean, it was like just a couple weeks ago, it just dawned on me. But hey, wait a minute. I didn't tell you guys that I sunk in a depression that was so dark and dismal. I had no way of coming out. Like, I saw no way out. So anxiety and depression, I mean, I would get anxious for the most ridiculous thing caused me anxiety. And it was later that I recognized that the active ingredient, which is a benzo, something another, can't call that name, all the medications that are in that class of medication, just bad. Do not take them. So the Xanax, so the Ambien and the Dormicum and the there's a myriad of them. I can tell you all about them. I've been there, done that. Till after a while, they no longer helped me to sleep. Like, so I would have to take them like every 7 days. But you know what? The thing is, that was a blessing in disguise. So when I recognized that the pill, so I would find that when I didn't take the pills, I didn't feel as bad. Like, my mood wasn't as bad and I was not in such a dark place. Like, it was so dark. And people would say to me, you know, you're always inspiring and you're always motivating, you know. Just look back on all the words that you have spoken to us and use those to pull yourself. And I had to do a lot of self-talk, going out in the sun, like literally going out in the sun, taking fresh air, changing my diet, just a myriad of changes, lifestyle change I had to make to get to where I'm at right now.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot to unpack because
I said a lot.
Oh my gosh, that made me tired. All those medications.
So many times that we feel that when a person is in depression, it's like, you know, they were a dark person anyway. They had negative thoughts, and you know what strikes me about you is you are such a bubbly personality, and then you are also very successful. So I mean, it's. I guess the point is that this can happen to anybody. We always have to be on our best behavior, our best taking care of ourselves. We can't ever forget that because, you know, you are an example that even the most successful, bubbly personalities can fall into depression.
Yeah, and you're right. To say that, you know, that's a lesson that stood out for me, that it can happen to anyone. And depression is real. Depression is not, and it's not sadness. It's a different, it's not sad. So you tell people talk about depression and they probably think it's sadness. It's a deep sad. No, it's not sadness. It's something I do not have the capacity to express and explain.
Like emptiness.
Yes,
like a huge emptiness.
It's a huge bottomless pit, dark black hole that you dropped in, and there is no way, or you see no way of getting out. And you're right, it can happen to anyone, and you don't have to be somebody that is negative, because that's a lesson to me. I've been depressed, you know, mildly depressed before and sad before. But that was something different. I mean, I'm able to snap myself out of any of those circumstances. I was never able to snap out of this because the pills were doing some chemical reaction in my brain.
Right.
And so it would give me the most negative of thoughts. Like one night I remember, like I was taking an antidepressant and as well as the pill to sleep. I mean, all of that. And one night I had to literally jump out of my bed, run downstairs, get me a cup of chamomile, because what my brain was telling me to do on those pills, it was unimaginable. I'm like, no, like luckily I had a part of me that was still sane, that I could say, no, this is crazy. You know what I mean? And if I didn't do something to calm me, God knows what I would have ended up doing, because the pills were literally guiding me and working on my brain, and I didn't realize it at the time.
And for you to be able to identify that, that is awesome, because a lot of people can't. I mean, they're just down that rabbit hole. They they can't do it. And then your physical your health issues as well. So what did you do? I mean, are you eating differently? Are you taking different medications, supplements? What are you doing?
Great question, because that's absolutely key. So I told you, like, I went to 10 doctors, then the 11th one is a naturopath. And of course, I've been to psychiatrists because I was going to just go the whole 9 yards because I had to fight. When I tell you I put up a battle for my health, I had to battle for my health. And I was willing to battle for it. And that includes prayer, that includes breathing. Like many times I just had to literally breathe. I would feel myself passing out and I would get up and run outside and just breathe. Right. So, I mean, I didn't see a naturopath until July. I remember they started in April. And it was like the first week of July that I started seeing a naturopath. Now, we had, because of this whole COVID thing, of course, we had a phone consultation. And I answered a big, thick file of stuff she sent me. Oh, gosh. But I was so happy to complete it and struggled to complete it, though, because by this time, my energy hadn't come back. I was so super sensitive to electronics and electronic devices. I cannot explain. So we did that phone consultation and she took a few moments to go over it. And by the time we I came back, she was like, you know what, this is adrenal fatigue. And I said to her, I know it, right? Because I shared it with a friend of mine. And she said, yeah, this is my experience. I've been through it before. This is what you're going through. And my own research kind of led me there. And then, like I said, there was a doctor who kind of came close to kind of saying what the problem was. So to answer the question, what I did, so I started on her program as a naturopath. I started her program, which is it started with a detox. And for the whole week, she gives you a diet, what to follow and so on. And it wasn't until day 2 into the program, I said to myself, oh my gosh, but these persons have turned me into a vegan. I didn't realize it.
Oh my goodness.
So it was two, and I find that funny, right? And I'll tell you all the things that I did. But I find it really funny because in March of this year, I had a guest from France that came to visit with me with a program that I was doing, where it's called Home Away, where I would have persons come into my home, do some work, I accommodate them, feed them in exchange for the work. Oh. So I started that program, and we both met at the airport that very night when she was coming in, which is the 8th of March, somewhere there, because I was coming in from a speaking engagement in the US, in Florida. And, I was excited now to prepare Jamaican foods for her. And she was like, oh no, I don't eat meat. And I'm saying to myself, I said to her, that is so good. Like, I wish I could do that. I love it, but I can't do it because I'm a meat lover. I need to have my pork. I need to have my meat. I just cannot do that lifestyle. And that was in March. So by July, when I recognized, like, oh, wait a minute, I'm vegan. I thought that was so hilarious. But the thing is, so I started the vegan diet. And what I perhaps didn't tell you before is that prior to me starting that detox program and diet and everything, I was on medication for acid reflux, right? Prescription medication for acid reflux. And I kid you not, within that same week, because on that week when I was doing the detox, I decided I was going to risk it and not take any drug at all, whether sleeping pills or acid reflux, whatever. I wasn't going to take any pills. I was going to allow the things to work. And so I struggled with the sleep because I had to, once in the program, I had to take it because by the time I was just feeling like a zombie. But within that week, I literally came off the prescription drug for acid reflux and I've not taken it since. Wow. Just by changing my diet, continuously exercising. By then I started walking, at least an hour per day, but I consistently now set up a schedule where I get up at 5, have devotions from 5 to 5:30. By 5:30 to 6:30, I'm walking, come back, have my breakfast at 7 to 8. And then I don't have another meal until 2 o'clock. That's another thing they introduced to me, intermittent fasting. I'm like, no, I'm going to die. I have to eat several times per day.
Yeah.
Yeah, but intermittent fasting is what I've been doing since, and a lot of other things,
Yeah, and that's an important factor that, number one, acid reflux. A lot of people are misinformed that if you have to have a burning sensation or some other pain, but some information that I've picked up here lately, because before I changed some of my eating, I had really bad sinuses or just clogged up in the morning. Yeah, really congested every morning. And I did read some information that can be a symptom of acid reflux as well. So just kind of put it out to the listeners that it's always something to ask about because we don't know. But what I was going to say is changing food. You know, when we made some tweaks to what we were eating, I came completely off of my allergy medicine and have not had, you know, I have a bout of sneezing every now and then, but not the waking up feeling so stuffy. So I think we need to be very conscious of what we put in our bodies, that it does have effect on us. Even if we don't have a violent allergic reaction, that doesn't mean that it's optimal for us.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you know, the thing about our bodies will adapt to how we treat it. And so it keeps adapting. But after a while, you know, you realize that it's gonna work against you if you're not taking care of it. So not only did I go on a vegan diet, but it's clean vegan diet that I'm on. So I don't eat anything fried. Of course I don't, no flesh, no dairy, nothing fried. I don't use I hardly use oils, and when I do use a little oil, it's coconut oil or olive oil. I don't have regular salt. I have the pink Himalayan salt. But a great question, continuing on your question, Terry, that I didn't finish answering about what I'm taking now. So in addition to the diet, one of the things that I recognize, and from my learnings and research, that our bodies, because we've been overworking it so much, we're depleted in magnesium, right? And so magnesium for me is my go-to mineral. Like it's the miracle mineral. And having one of my upcoming Slow Down and Live summits, that's what we're going to be addressing and so on. Because one of the things really, because I am now on 3 different types of magnesium. So there's one that I spray on, and I do that when I'm going to bed and when I wake up in the morning. So I spray that on so your skin absorbs it a lot more, easier.
It's an essential oil per se, and is that what it is? Like an essential
oil? It's not really an oil. It's like literally water. You just spray it and you rub it in, and spray it in on an area and you just rub it in. I actually am an affiliate for the company as well that sells it, because I bought into magnesium really well. And then I do the Calm brand, which I take that sometimes late in the afternoon or in the night when I'm going to bed. And I also take magnesium glycinate, because my research proves that there are several different types of magnesium, right? And so it's the glycinate that will help you with sleep. My sleep has still not been restored, in the sense that I don't go to bed and fall asleep and wake up refreshed and that kind of a thing. But I have now been able to get into a state of calm. So I don't wake up feeling like a zombie. My body still, because having treated my body in such a bad manner, it's gonna take a while to rebuild. So although I'm feeling a lot more in terms of energy, because there was a time when I couldn't walk, I had no energy to walk. Just one day when I was able to say, okay, I am going to take the bull by the horn and I'm going to walk around my house for 15 minutes. The day I was able to do that, that was such a major win for me. Like, it was ridiculous. Like, I would be going, I cannot explain all the things that I've been through. It's like, just so.
You just didn't have energy at all?
Nothing.
To do anything. Oh my God.
This conversation that we're having now would have been impossible a couple months ago. Like, I would not be able to do it, and then panic would start to set in, anxiety. But this is something I love to do. So that is why I knew that something was really wrong, because I was getting anxiety and panic over the things I love to do, and like having conversations like these.
So you've mentioned this, but just kind of tying it all together. So, because what I want to ask you is, what are some changes that you have made as far as your activities? I know that you said that you started getting up. It sounds like you started getting up earlier, where you could do your devotional and then get out and have your hour walk. But have you made any other tweaks to your schedule or to things that you would do during the day normally?
Absolutely. Great question. Because, and let me just preface this by saying the temptation is there for me to go back to where I'm coming from with my schedule and my, and organize and do this, do that, whatever. But I'm reminded every day. And I think the blessing in disguise is that my healing process is not immediate. And, it's a process. It's a blessing for me because it reminds me that, hey, you cannot go back to where you're coming from. And so one of the things I do, first of all, I don't pack my days like I usually would. I allow space to go outside, sit in the sun. I'm supposed to be there an hour per day. I don't always stay the hour because, but I make one of my favorite pastimes is to go outside in my garden. I mean, I'm planting now cucumbers and okras and all these things, right? So I look forward to going out into my garden the days, making sure I take a break. I have my lunch hour and my breakfast time. It's sacrosanct. Nothing gets in the way of that kind of a thing. So right now, as we're done, I started doing my dinner/lunch because I only have meals 2 times per day. And what I'm actually doing now, I started prepping my meals. So by the time we're done with this conversation, it would be my meal time, right? And I'll have my meal. So between 2 and 3, nobody gets me to do anything. Between 7 and 8, nobody gets me to do anything. I am very clear that I need to set boundaries and I need to respect my body, listen to it. And because it's what, one of the things, I'm sitting in my home office right now, Roy and Terry. And I remember looking around and seeing all the various accolades on the wall and the various things. And I got to a point where I actually resented them because I thought to myself, they are the reason why I'm in this position. Yes, I mean, ultimately, it was my decision. But I look at the things and I started at the time to resent them because I'm thinking, if I weren't busy going after these things, I wouldn't have been in this situation, And I want to share something that I thought, because I'm a woman of faith. I believe in God wholeheartedly. And it's through God why I'm still alive today, because I've been to hell and back. I've been to death's door. And I remember one day in April, when I started feeling a little better, I still wasn't there, but I was feeling not as badly as the first few weeks. And I just looked around the office and wanted something to read. And I was randomly brought to a 2008 devotional called Daily Bread. I don't know if you guys know about that, or Daily Bread. It's a devotional that it's been in publication for many, many years now, and it gets circulated, predominantly in the Caribbean. I don't know where it's also distributed. But when I opened that devotional, I opened it to the very first day, which was January 1, 2008. And the reading, the caption for the reading for that day says, "Slow down and live."
Oh, wow.
And for me, the message could not have been more poignant. Yes, I've been getting the messages in other areas before, but that was kind of what cemented it for me. And I thought to myself, I said, God, if you allow me to go through this just for me, you're unfair. It cannot be just for me. So I took from that I was allowed to go through that so that I can share my message with other people and to help them to recognize that, listen, it's important to want success. It's important to go after these things. But ultimately, if you're not around, if you're not alive to do them, then what's the point, right? Yeah. And
so
hence,
true.
Slow Down and Live, the event comes out of that.
Yeah, and I kind of set you up with that question because, I know that, your health kind of hit rock bottom, so you were able to rebuild back. But, what I think about is just myself. I'm the one that if I could just do one more thing this day, if I can squeeze in one more guest, one more show, one more spreadsheet, one more this, but the reason I ask is because the flip side of that is I can say, okay, I'm quitting right this minute, not doing any more today. But then I'll sit there and be anxious. I will get more anxious about not doing it than, but I know that the path can be a lot worse than that anxiety. So I guess my thing is, how do you deal with it? Or do you have some tricks or something that you can talk to us about for somebody like myself to be able to step back from it for a little bit?
All right. So I tell you that I believe that God has a great sense of humor, right? So that was with the vegan diet when my friend came and I I can't do that, but then I ended up being vegan. I remember one day I went to my hair salon. So this I know the listeners will not be able to see rather, but this picture that you're looking at with my hair braided and stuff, that's how I normally do my hair. And so I remember going to my stylist once, sat down early in the year, last year, and I said to her, I'm really praying for the day when I can feel like a bomb, like, just go mindlessly, aimlessly, not care about anything, not worried about, because I was somebody who I would say, okay, I'm taking a break now, and I take the break, and I remember that there's something to be done, and I forget that I'm on a break, and I just went and I just go ahead and do it. I could not sit still. I could not get to the point where my body rests. I was always in overdrive. And I even that day when I'm doing my hair, I have my computer in front of me and I'm working. I mean, you would think a girl is out doing her hair, she's just gonna relax, and no, I'm working. And that's how I would take the computer any and everywhere. And so I had to train myself. Well, first of all, I was forced to, because there's a point when even if I wanted to, I couldn't.
Right.
But then once I started getting more energy, I keep remembering where I'm coming from. So the memory of where I'm coming from keeps me grounded to, okay, just sit down. Even sometimes, even when I have a schedule, because I would put maybe not very, formal and strict and all of that, but I'll just have an idea or drop things down of what I want to accomplish for the day. Right. And I get to the point where I would say, okay, I have these 3 things I want to accomplish, but here's what. I'm sitting down and I'm watching TV and I'm not getting up. And that feeling when you're feeling so relaxed and cold, you don't want to get up. I now get that feeling, which I didn't know that I could have. And I prayed to get that, just not want to do anything. I never had that feeling before. So I had to consciously bring myself there. But another thing is, if you have a schedule, your schedule can also be one that takes guilt away from you, because when you have your schedule, the things that you write down that you want to accomplish within that day, and please don't overdo it. The things that you want to accomplish for the day, once you are able to tick them off, the guilt doesn't come with it, because what normally allow the guilt to pop up is that you think, all right, so I have A, B, and C to do, and you get carried away. You're on B, you're doing A, and then there's a guilt in your mind, like, oh, I need to stop doing A now because I have B to do. And you're conflicted because you're not sure which project you need to spend more time on. But if you have a little schedule, right, and make it flexible, please, I realize we're not robots. If you have a little schedule that you say, okay, I want to accomplish these 3 things today, and you spend some time, okay, I'm going to spend 2 hours on A, an hour on B, and 3 hours on C. I mean, under no circumstance you should just be working 3 hours straight anyway. You need to be taking breaks in between. But you put time to them so that your brain knows that, okay, I'm working on B and I did allocate 2 hours to or an hour to B. So you don't feel there's not compulsion that you need to be doing C, because you did allocate time to C, but you're doing B now. So it helps your brain, because your brain will want to trick you into thinking, oh, you need to be doing all of these things. And when you're not doing that, you're like, oh my gosh, I need to be doing it. And when you're doing something, it's and the cycle continues. So structure your brain, help your brain to be structured.
Yeah, she was talking about me. That's exactly what happens to me. Oh my gosh. I need to be allocating the time, like you said. I need to write that down with my to-do list,
I think that's an important part is the scheduling, also the to-do list, and not to overdo it. What I try to do, because of what I learned years ago, was if I got something off my mind and on paper, it freed me. All of a sudden, it just it's like deleting a file on a hard disk. It just freed up more space. And so I'm pretty diligent, but then I got into a habit of writing everything down. And as Terry can attest, if I was to go out and walk for 15 minutes and have a clear head, I'll come back with 25 new things, new ideas. It's like, oh my God.
Well.
So, what I've had to do is I make the daily to-do list, and then I have the bigger want to do, future to do, so I don't get hung up on that. But anyway, the point is, no matter how you do it, I've started using the Microsoft To Do because I like it. It transfers from all my computers, phone, everything. But I also use 3x5 cards because I like to see it in front of me all the time. And so find a way that works for you. Everybody likes something a little bit different. Some people, talked to a young lady the other day that she likes to put Post-it notes all around, on the bathroom mirror, what she wants to start her day with, on the desk or whatever. So anyway, just find a way to do your to-do list where you can write it down, get it off your mind, and then put time to it. Important. Can't stress that enough. Put that time limit that I'm going to work on A for, that hour, and that way it also, you instead of trying to get it to completion, you realize that, hey, I've got an hour for this and then I'm quitting. I'm not going to finish it, because that's what I fall into when I start working on something. It's like, it's got to be finished. It's got to be finished. And it may not necessarily have to be finished right this very minute. It's not going to matter if I finish it today, tomorrow, or the day after. That's not important as making progress on it.
Mm-hmm. And part of the, you're right about it. And part of the whole fatigue issue, it wasn't just adrenal fatigue. It's also brain fatigue, because I was constantly doing different projects throughout the day, switching in between them, and your brain just gets so fatigued with all of that transition. And so for me now, I find it such a joy I watch my time on my computer when I'm working, and it's such a joy for me to say, okay, time to quit now. And I get up and I go walk, or even if I go walk for a few minutes, drink some water or lots of water, and then I come back and I'm refreshed again, because your brain should not be held in such sharp focus for such a long time. You need time to relax. It really does need time to relax. So
that's another good point, to get up from your desk. And I've read all kinds of theories on that, but they say set an egg timer for 50 minutes, work, get up 10 minutes, walk around, like you said. Even if you just go outside, sunlight is so important. We don't really think about that. I think it's K, one of the big vitamins that we need.
Vitamin D. It's not that your body, because the sun itself doesn't give you the vitamin D, but what it does, because there's a vitamin D receptor in every cell for your body, then your body is able to do whatever. The sun helps your body to do whatever, so you can have the vitamin D, which is very important.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, because I feel like I kind of jokingly tell people that I feel like the older I've gotten, the more solar powered I am, because I notice in the winter, when the days are shorter and not as much sunlight, I notice my energy levels are lower than when, the sun's up, it's warm out. That's when I feel, at my best and have more energy.
Mm-hmm. So that's what's called seasonal affective disorder. Sad. No wonder.
Well, I lived in Massachusetts for a few years, and we lived in a very hilly place with 40, 50, 60 foot tall trees, and no kidding, there were days in the winter that at 3:30, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, it was already dark, or getting dark enough you knew. And it's like, oh my gosh, it was definitely, I could tell that effect. Coming from Texas, that's where I've always lived, where we have, mostly sunny. Even during the winter, we still get a lot of sun. So anyway, can overstress the importance of just getting out, soaking up that sun. It's good for you. So thanks a lot for taking time out of your day. One thing I was going to ask is there a tool, and we've talked about a lot of things that you do in your daily routine now, but can you kind of pinpoint one, either routine, habit, or a tool, even if it's something electronic or whatever that you use that you just don't feel like you could get by with during the day?
I think it's Google Keep. There are a lot of tools, but Google Keep for me, and for persons who have a lot of ideas coming at you and you're working, and sometimes even when you're off work, because I kind of set work hours now, but sometimes in my downtime, if you have your phone and an idea come to me, I just kind of jot a note down. So for me, Google Keep is really one of the tools that I live by,
Okay.
Oh, I love that. I have one more question. I have one more question for you.
That's fine. So go right ahead.
I love the jerk seasoning. So can you do that to vegetables?
Yeah, you can jerk your vegetables. Yes, you can. You can.
Okay.
So you can have your kebabs and you put the jerk seasoning on it, and yeah, very good.
Okay. I'm
Yeah.
trying it. I'm trying it.
We've been in the kitchen a lot, and so we're trying a lot of new and different things with a lot of new and different spices that we haven't tried. So
a lot of turmeric. We've added turmeric in and lots of cumin and trying without the salt, without which is very hard. So I kind of throw a little in mine when he's not looking.
No, but you actually do, Terry. You actually do need salt. The regular salt, the regular salt that perhaps not, but the good salt to have is the pink Himalayan salt. Okay. I love that. You need the salt in your body.
Yes.
So all right, well, tell everybody how they can get a hold of you and some events that you have going on or whatever you'd like to tell.
About your podcast.
Sure. Okay, so my podcast is like lots of things going on. My podcast is the Entrepreneurial You Podcast, and great interviews there with leaders and entrepreneurs. Then the website, when you go to HenekaWatkis-Porter.com, it will give you information that will take you to my Instagram, my Twitter, my Facebook, my LinkedIn, and importantly, there's a WhatsApp icon on that homepage that will come directly to me. So if you want to message me about anything, whether it's my mastermind coming up, I also have an event which I alluded to earlier called Slow Down and Live, Health is Wealth, which I'm having 5 amazing speakers and amazing moderators and myself. We'll be sharing the importance and talking about some of the things that traditional medicine don't look at. So adrenal fatigue, whole food diet, we're talking about magnesium, talking about mental health, and looking at the whole new year, new you, what you can do, the changes you can make. So it's going to be a power-packed day on January 6th, and tickets are available at bit.ly, bit.ly/slowdownandlive1 to get more information.
Oh, that sounds great.
Yeah, we'll be sure and put that in the show notes as well.
Yes, I appreciate it. It was such a pleasure talking with you guys.
So lovely to meet you.
Yeah, we enjoy it.
Blessings. When do you plan on going live with this one? May I ask?
It will probably be maybe that week of Christmas. I will have to look. It'll be the week before, or maybe just that week after.
Okay, great. And my 200th episode is coming up, so I'll send you a link to that as
well.
Oh
my goodness.
Yes, please do. Yeah, we'd be glad to push that.
Congratulations. That is amazing.
Okay.
Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Heneka.
Sure. Bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, well, that is it for another episode of Feeding Fatty. You can find us at www.feedingfatty.com. Go over there and check us out. We just put up a new podcast cover today that for some reason we left the writing or wording off of it, so we've tried to rectify that. Terry did an awesome job, so you can reach out and tell her. Also, you may want to reach out for any some graphic design. Yeah, right.
My new thing.
Yeah. All right. So you can find us again at our website. You can find us on all the major podcast platforms: iTunes, Google, Stitcher, Spotify. We've recently expanded Amazon, Pandora, Tune In, Tune Out, something like that. Anyway, a lot of them. If we're not on your favorite one, please send us an email. We'll be sure and get it uploaded there.
Did you say YouTube?
Also, Also, we do post these the recorded video feed of our interviews on YouTube as well. So you can go over there. Also, Facebook, we have a group. We'd like to get a little bit more interaction on the group. So if you're listening to this, go over to the Facebook group and let's start a conversation. Tell us some of your successes or some of your struggles. I'm sure that we have had them as well. So it'd be great to
even speakers. If you have any subjects or speakers in mind that you think would be great for the show, that would be awesome.
Right. Yeah, we're always looking for some good, more different subject matters, and trying to expose a little bit of a lot of thought leaders to everybody. So also Instagram and Twitter. So anyway, until next time, I am Roy.
And I'm Carrie. Thank you.